Welcome to the Know Before You Go Travel Show, where we share all the latest travel tips, tricks, and insights to make your next vacation the best one yet. So sit back, relax, grab a cocktail, and enjoy the show with Penyak Travel's George Penyak and our senior travel consultant, Janet Penyak.
What is up, everybody?
Hey, everyone.
Welcome back to another edition of the Know Before You Go Travel Show, and we've got a show for you today.
Extra special show.
Extra special show.
We have a guest.
We have a guest. It's going to be really good. But before we introduce her, if you're enjoying the content and you've been a long-time listener, you're not a subscriber, we would love a subscribe. We're trying to get our subs up here. So if you're enjoying the content and, you know, everything that we've been doing here, we would really, really appreciate that.
Yes.
And it's April. We're creeping into my birthday.
I was going to say, we've got a big countdown on, less than 7 days until our next trip, so we're excited about that.
Yeah, and it's a birthday trip.
Yep, it's George's birthday.
And I'm going to be halfway to 70. That's going to be a trending hashtag, halfway to 70.
Yeah, he sounds like it's so old.
Is that fair to look at a birthday like that right now? Is that okay? You
No.
just double it, you're halfway to whatever number you double?
No.
You don't think so?
No, I think it's ridiculous.
Either way, we'll have fun. We're going to be in Exuma, Bahamas. It'll be really good. Get some really good content out. We're about to get the video out from our last trip, Sandals Montego Bay.
Yes, in Jamaica in January, so stay tuned. That should be out in the next week.
Yes, but let's jump into the show. We've got a special guest. We have a call-in guest. It's one of our excellent agents. She is a Disney and Universal expert, and she, Stacey, you just got back from Universal, right?
I did.
Awesome.
Not 2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago. So this is, if you're listening to this content, we're going to get this out on April 10th. If you're listening to this shortly after April 10th, this is going to be very relevant and recent information, especially for those thinking about going to Universal now. And you've been like a handful of times since they reopened, haven't you?
I have. I have been back to Universal and Disney both 4 times since last June.
Perfect.
Yes,
perfect.
So lots of great info to share. And then we can talk about how it's changed from whenever they first reopened to the differences that you're seeing now. So,
yeah, and Stacey's been part of the Penyak travel team for a couple of years now, and she does a ton of business with Universal and Disney. She is one of our absolute experts on this. And I think we're going to focus a little bit more on Universal since you were just there. But if you could you want to recap kind of what your trip was like there? Was there anything different that you noticed most recently than maybe your trips prior? Because now we're kind of, we're heading in the right direction with COVID. Things are opening back up. So what was it like, and what did you notice?
Well, I went to Universal the week of spring break when all of the local Florida school systems were on break.
Oh, wow.
So this was the week that we did Disney and Universal that week. Disney was blocked out to all of their cast members that entire week, all the parks. Universal parks all hit capacity every day that week. And the big thing I've noticed is that even though they're limiting attendance at both Disney World and Universal parks, they are hitting their capacity on a routine basis. Universal has hit capacity now for the last 8 days in a row.
Wow.
What did the park feel like? So what did it feel like when it's at capacity right now?
Capacity is still, they won't give away a number.
Right.
I think Universal's capacity is still probably in the 35 to 40% range.
Okay.
So capacity now does not feel like, crowded pre-COVID.
Right.
There's still not as many people. It's just that with the social distancing and everything, the lines, they may stretch a mile long, but they move very quickly. It's just because everybody is spread apart so far and everything. So they feel crowded when you're waiting in lines, but they're nowhere near as crowded as they were pre-COVID, and you can still get everything done. And I think you're getting more done now than you ever were pre-COVID just because of the lower overall numbers.
So how many days did you spend at Universal?
We spent 4 days at Universal on this trip.
Oh, okay, great. So kind of give us a brief overview of the Universal parks and the different ticket options, and then let's talk about that.
Yeah, because there's some listeners here that might not know about it, but might be considering a trip there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so Universal has what they call 3 different parks. Two of them are theme parks, the traditional theme parks. So you have Universal Studios, and that is the one that really focuses on movies, entertainment. And then you have Islands of Adventure, and that is the one that focuses more on like comic strip types of heroes and legends and things like that.
Okay.
So those are the two theme parks. In each theme park, they have a portion of the Harry Potter enterprise. So in Universal Studios, Diagon Alley exists in that one, and then in Islands of Adventure, Hogsmeade exists.
Okay.
And so you have part of the Harry Potter franchise in each park, and if you have to take the Hogwarts Express to get from one to the other.
And as far as the Hogwarts Express goes, and I haven't been to Universal since I was a kid, so I don't know too much about it. But the Hogwarts Express, I know that's the train between the two parks, and you have to have the park-to-park ticket in order to ride that, correct?
Yes, you do.
Okay.
Yes,
so talk about the difference in the ticket options.
Well, you can buy single park. Well, let me first tell you the third park.
Oh, yep. Sorry, jumping ahead.
The third park is their water park. It's called Volcano Bay, but they call it a water theme park. And the way it is, they have all the traditional rides and slides and everything else that you would have in a theme park. What's unique about it is that you don't wait in line for anything there.
Oh,
they
nice.
give you a little wristband. They call it a tapu. And you go up to whatever ride you want to ride. You tap in, and then it'll tell you, then you could go do whatever you want. Go play in the lazy river, go play in a wave pool, whatever. And then your tapu will go off and say, you can now come ride such and such.
Oh, tafu. Is that like a Harry Potter thing?
No, it has nothing to do with, it's called tapu. I believe it's made of around some mythological god or something.
I was gonna say, it sounds like Polynesian or something.
It says something interesting. Yeah, tafu.
Yeah.
Tapu.
But the nice thing about it is tapu.
Oh, with a P. Gotcha.
Yes, but you don't wait in lines. You get to be playing the whole time, and you wait for it to go off and tell you when to go ride the ride. And as soon as you ride one thing, you just go tap into the next.
Oh,
where's this technology when I was a kid?
Yeah, I know.
Really?
Like we were roughing it out in lines.
Oh my gosh.
Waiting hours, just watching everyone else have fun while I wait for 30 minutes to an hour to spend 20 seconds on a ride.
Yeah, so
exactly.
how does just real quick, the Volcano Bay differ from Disney's water parks?
Ooh, good question.
It has more total rides because it's one water park than Disney's two together.
Right.
But I would say the quality of rides and all is fairly comparable.
Okay. And Disney, they don't have the tapu type technology over there, right?
No, they do not.
Okay. No, I don't think they're using that. But, because I know you book a lot at Disney as well, Stacey. If you've got families deciding between the two, do you want to? Can you kind of high level it for us all as far as comparison of price versus value versus experience? Like, what would be if you had a family of say 5 with 3 young kids debating both trips but could only do one? What would be some of the things that you would? What qualifying questions would you ask? Like, how would you help them find the right fit?
I think age of the kids would be a primary factor, and just asking, what do the children like? I think of Universal Park as being a little more for thrill seekers, although it has a lot of children-themed, rides and activities and things like that. But you need a little bit more of a daring child to justify Universal, or if you have a Harry Potter fanatic.
Okay.
I'd be a Universal kid.
Yeah, the Harry Potter lands will blow you away. And so if I have anybody who is a Harry Potter fan, I'm going to steer them to Universal. If I have more of a family that, if grandparents are going on the trip with mom and dad with the kids, I'm going to certainly steer them towards Disney. If you have somebody, who's into all the Disney movies because of their ages,
right?
Obviously, that's more Disney. Pricing has become fairly comparable. I used to think that, Disney was much more expensive, but I think the two have become comparable right now. And there's some tricks and things that you can do to really get some value, particularly out of a Universal vacation.
Okay. Oh, really?
Yes. Yeah.
Can you elaborate on that?
Yeah. I will probably more than 50% of my clients, I will sell an annual pass to Universal instead of selling them just regular tickets.
Right.
And the reason is because an annual pass typically doesn't cost any more than a 3 or 4 day ticket. Uh-huh. And you get all the extra perks with it.
Really? So that's still the case. I remember we talked about this in the last podcast. So you get a lot more value for about the same price, and then you can come back and have a second or even third trip if you wanted to.
Absolutely.
So what are those perks that you get?
Well, one of them is hotel discounts.
Okay.
The room discounts can be anywhere from 20 to 40%.
Oh,
and
nice.
So particularly if you're getting up to the premier level hotels, those discounts are phenomenal.
Right.
Universal has different levels of annual passes. And so some of the different levels are going to give you 10% off everything you buy. And that includes all your food, as well as merchandise. Others will give you 15% off.
Okay.
You get free parking with some levels, which is a big perk.
Uh-huh.
You get valet parking with the top level one. With the top level one, which I would not sell to a non-Florida resident or somebody who wasn't planning to go back a lot. They will get free admission to Halloween Horror Nights.
Oh.
For one person. So, yeah, there's a lot of perks that you get. You also get free admission to all of the venues in City Walk.
Okay.
Which is where you have all the nightclubs and everything else.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot of advantages to having an annual pass. And even if just one person buys the annual pass in the party, you could still get all those discounts.
Oh, very nice. And now what about, so with the annual pass, and obviously you can go to any of the Universal parks, does that allow you like the park-to-park benefits?
It does. The annual passes are all park to park, and you can either buy a 2-park or a 3-park pass.
Okay.
So the 2-park would let you go to the 2 theme parks, and then the 3-park would add in the water park.
Okay. So if someone didn't buy the annual pass, let's just go back and let's talk about the different ticket types that are available.
Okay, so they could buy a single park ticket. Okay. Which would let them just go. Suppose you just wanted to go to Universal Studios one day.
Uh-huh.
You could buy a ticket to it, and you could buy that for 1 day, 2 days, 3 days, however many days you wanted. You could buy a park-to-park ticket, mm-hmm. which lets you go between Universal Studios and Islands of Adventure.
And then so that allows you to ride the Hogwarts Express. So for those Harry Potter fans.
Correct.
Yep.
So if you're a Harry Potter fan, I'm going to definitely recommend that one. And again, you can buy that for any number of days, 1 to 4 or 5 days, uh-huh. typically. Or you could buy the 3-park pass, which would allow you to go to both theme parks and the water park.
Yep.
And again, you could do any of those over the course of the number of days the ticket is for. And Universal does use date-based pricing too. They're like Disney, so their prices are going to go up when it's more, crowded, and they're going to go down at lesser times of the year.
Oh, interesting. I didn't know that.
Yeah. Yes. Now, let's also talk about the Universal Express Pass.
Ah, the Express Pass. Express Pass is my favorite feature of Universal.
Yep.
And for those people who are Disney fans, think of this as a fast pass on steroids.
Okay.
If you go to Disney, when the fast pass, if and when it ever returns, you can only pull it for a specific ride at a specific time.
Right.
And you could get, up to 3 at a time in the past. Express Pass lets you go to the front of almost every line in the park.
Oh, wow.
And you do not need any reservation. You don't have to plan it or anything. So one of the things I think about with a Universal trip compared to a Disney trip, my Universal trips are generally more relaxed.
Yeah.
I don't have to plan everything. When I'm going to Disney, I have planned out every minute of every day.
Oh, yeah.
Going from ride to ride to minimize wait times and all. But if you have an express pass, you can just walk to the front of the line. It works for all but the one most popular ride in the theme parks, which is Hagrid right now.
Oh, okay. It doesn't. Is that because it's so popular?
Yes.
This technology, these options were not available when I was a kid.
Yeah, no, and I know it does come at a cost. Do you by chance know the cost?
I do. Now, it depends on your express pass. There's two different options with it as well. You can either get a regular express pass, which means you could go to the front of the line once for every ride. Or you can get an unlimited one, which means if you want to go ride, Escape from Gringotts 5 times in a row, you could go to the front of the line all 5 times.
Oh, that's the way to go. I want to skip in front of all the other kids over and over.
Yeah, exactly. So right now, a one park, 1 day regular pass that you can only go to the front of the line once starts at $150, and the unlimited is $180.
Oh, it's 30 more bucks. That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You might as well. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, that's just for one park. If you want it for 2 parks, on the same day because you're hopping back and forth,
right?
Then the regular one starts at $159 and the unlimited starts at $191.
Okay, so that's a decent jump. Do you find that it's that easy to get from park to park, or do most people do that throughout the day, bounce back and forth within a day, or do they typically stay?
The way the Universal parks are set up, even if you don't have the park-to-park ticket where you were riding the Hogwarts Express, and there's times you may not want to ride it, like when the line is ridiculously long, even though you're going to the front of it.
Yeah.
Right.
You can walk from one park to the other in less than 5 minutes. This is not like Disney. It's not like Disney where you have a monorail of space between Magic Kingdom and Epcot. These parks are literally right next door to each other.
Okay. Very good to know. Now, sorry, go ahead.
No, but there's a trick with the Express Pass, and it's my favorite trick at all of Universal. If you stay at the top level of hotels at Universal, everybody in your party gets free unlimited express passes.
No kidding.
Yeah,
for the entire length of stay.
And which ones are those?
That is the Royal Pacific, the Hard Rock, and the Portofino Bay. They are expensive, but the express pass alone pays for the cost of the room.
Yeah.
Really? So if you're considering upgrading to the top level hotels and buying the passes, that's definitely something you want to factor in then, because
then you don't need to buy
you almost
the pass.
Can deduct that price out and say that's really the net of what you're paying.
Yeah. Or if you stay at one of the less expensive and then you want to buy the pass, then just look at the math.
Do the math.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I do that for clients all the time. I will, I'll usually have clients that want to stay at one of the value hotels, and I'll price it out for them. But then if they have any interest in the Express Pass, by the time I add that pass on, I can show them how they'd be better off staying in one of the premier hotels.
Yeah, I gotcha.
I have one other quick question.
Okay,
on the Express Pass. So if you buy the annual pass, do you get the Express Pass?
If you buy the highest level of annual pass.
Okay.
And it's the one that I said I would only really recommend to Florida residents.
Right.
Yeah.
But if you buy it, you get free Express Pass after, I think, 4:30 right now on weekdays.
Okay.
It does not typically, but that is, I believe that's kind of a COVID concession because some of the other features of the annual passes really aren't coming into play right now. So it does not typically come with an Express Pass. Now, the only way to get it usually is either to stay at the premier hotels or to purchase it.
Okay.
It's not a feature, the annual pass.
Gotcha. Yeah. So when you have these Express Passes that get you to the front of the line, you're just tapping your wristband essentially, and then it just tells you 5 minutes later you're ready to go, right?
Oh, no. The wristband only works in the water park.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
That's a water park exclusive. What it is they give you a room key which is like a credit card. And I usually just wear it in a lanyard with my annual pass on one side and my room key on the other. And when you go to any line, you just show them your room key that shows, which hotel you're staying in and the date, and they can scan the barcode on it, and that's what lets you go. So you don't have to wait to ride anything with the Express Pass. You just go to the front.
Gotcha. So
now, I don't want to mislead you. Sometimes going to the front, if you're going for some of the most, popular rides, you might still be waiting 20 minutes. But the regular wait time, may well be an hour.
Right. Yeah. It's just a separate line. That's always shorter.
And for me, Janet and I, we don't have kids yet, but if we did and we went down there, I'd be okay paying a little bit more because waiting kind of you can do more. Time is something you can't pay for.
Yeah.
And
Exactly.
I think that's something a lot of families should consider because the time you're there is limited, and if you want to maximize everything you can do, that's a great option. It sounds like to me it's worth it, especially if you have your higher demand rides that can be an hour wait, and you're cutting that down, over half. You're doubling the amount of time you can do other things. And I think it's a really, really smart move. But again, everyone's got a budget. You want to maximize that budget, but man, if you can swing an extra $100 or so bucks to have that pass, that's incredible.
Yeah,
absolutely. Well, and the other advantage of it too is that, again, I'm going to go back to the Disney analogy because I think so many people know Disney. When we go to Disney, we're a rope drop family. We're at the park an hour before the official opening every day.
Yep.
Which means, on our recent trip, when Magic Kingdom was slated to open at 8, I was at the bus stop at 6:30.
Oh, wow.
From our hotel because we were at the park before 7 o'clock. We want to be the first ones in line so that we can go ride everything. And it works. I mean, we get more done in the first 2 hours of Disney than we do the rest of the day.
Yeah.
Universal, now it was not true on this recent trip because on the recent trip you had parks hitting capacity. So I still did have to get up early to go to parks.
Wow. Okay. That's good to know.
But typically at Universal, I could sleep till 10 o'clock.
Oh, nice.
Because I'm not rushing to go to the park. I know once I get there, I'm just going to the front of the line anyway. So I don't care how long the lines get.
Right.
Yeah.
So that is another, real feature. And that's something I say about it's a different experience going to Universal and going to Disney if you have that express pass at Universal.
Yeah.
So speaking of working with clients, can you go through a couple? So you work with so many different clients, as does Janet. What are some frequently asked questions that you would get from a client considering Universal over Disney or vice versa, or once they've decided on Universal, what are some of those commonly asked questions that you might get that the audience might find helpful?
Well, the first one is they want to know how many days.
Yep, I was just about to ask that.
Yeah. For a first timer, and I asked too, are you interested in going to both the theme parks and the water park, or are you just going to the theme parks? And are you going to just go to the theme parks and or water parks, or do you want to do some of the other activities, like at City Walk? Do you want to play miniature golf? Do you want to see movies? Do you want to go to the clubs? Do you want to eat or shop or things like that?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
If you were just going to the theme parks, which is typically more of one of our vacations, we tend to just go to the 2 theme parks and not the water park. I would allow 3 days to go to the 2 theme parks at a minimum. I usually go to 1 theme park the first day. I go to a second theme park the second day, and then we go back and forth on the third day doing our favorite rides again at each one.
Oh, and you could do that, so you could get all that done in 3 days. And
yes.
You're also talking about without waking up early and kind of having that flexibility, right?
Yes, having a relaxing vacation. I think you could go to the 2 theme parks in 3 days and get to see the majority of it.
Oh, that's very cool.
And do it. If you're going to add in the water park, I would allow an extra day for the water park. So,
is that what what would most clients do? Like, what do you see the most of? Do you actually see it split up that often between 3 and 4? Or do most people go to the 4 and enjoy the water park as well?
Depending on the time of year. If it's summer or warmer time of the years, most people are going 3 to 4 days.
Okay.
Gotcha.
But then I'll do a lot of people that I sell annual passes to, they'll go back for 3-day weekends. throughout the year. So they're only going, for 2 or 3 days.
Interesting.
Yeah,
What,
because they have the pass, so they already have the tickets.
Yeah.
And so it's just going to getting their lodging. Another trick with that lodging too, I told you, if you stay in the premier room, you get the express pass.
Right.
In the premier room, you could stay one night and get 2 days of express passes.
Really?
Because you can get the express pass from the morning of your check-in day, and it's good until the evening of your check-out day.
Oh,
So if I wanted to go and just check in Saturday, I will typically go check in the hotel at 7 a.m. I pick up my express passes. We go straight to the parks. We come back. We stay Saturday night. We check out Sunday, but my passes are still good all day Sunday.
Oh, that's cool.
So
That is crafty. I like
I was
that.
going to say, Stacey's good at finding stuff like that.
Know before you go travel tip right there.
Yes. So,
everybody who's a mom of 4 knows all the tricks when it comes to money.
oh, yes. Yeah.
I love it.
So,
hey,
I was going to say, I want to ask, and I'm sure you've been asked this too. So, on the most recent trip, what kind of COVID precautions besides the reduced capacity did you see? And how were they any different from when they first opened last summer?
They had the same precautions in place, but they were not as strict, I should say. So they're checking like everybody's temperature from the time, if you walk into the hotel before you get in the lobby, they check your temperature. Or if you're going to the theme parks, as soon as you park, they're checking everybody's temperature. So they're strict about that. It's kind of funny. When they first reopened, when they were parking people, they were skipping one parking place between cars. Like your cars might catch COVID from each other.
Oh, my gosh.
oh my God.
That's funny.
They're no longer doing that. They are really enforcing the social distancing in their lines and queues. But for rides, they had been like skipping a whole row between parties. Now they're not doing that.
Okay.
So
and is that cutting down on line time?
It is. I think it's to increase how many people they can get through those lines. I suspect they're increasing capacity, but again, they don't really advertise.
Right.
Yeah.
What they're doing. But yeah.
And at a certain point too, I feel like when families are paying money and traveling there, you don't want to have that limited ride capacity where it starts impacting people's experience. And I think sounds like they're trying to toe the line of safety with experience too, because people still are paying money to go. It's not free to go, and you don't want to impact people's experience so bad that it's not worth going, right?
Right. And and I personally feel like if I'm on a roller coaster, it doesn't really matter if there's somebody sitting in front of me or behind me. I don't think, COVID, if they had skipped a seat, was going to make a whole lot of difference.
Right.
Yeah.
If you're outside on a roller coaster. What I did notice is in shows that are more seating, like theater style seating, back in June and October when I had gone last year, they would put parties and then they would skip a whole row before they would put other parties. Now they're putting parties and they're skipping one seat between parties, but they're filling in every row.
Okay.
So you don't really have that social distancing per se in the theater style seating.
Right.
Now the restaurants, initially when they reopened, they were really, really strict about having every other table blocked off with red tape and everything. It looks to me as if they have taken out some of the tables to space them further apart, but you don't see every other empty table in the restaurants anymore. So now it appears as though the tables are spread further apart, but they probably have a higher capacity than they did initially.
Okay, and then what about?
And I was going to mention too. I'm sorry, I'm not even going to cut you off. I was going to say, I'm sure you get asked this a lot. Like, do you feel safe? Is it safe? And even as we're getting out of COVID, Jan and I have mentioned this on a lot of episodes. For our longtime listeners, they probably heard this before. But I feel like safety is so relative to the individual. Like it's hard for, we can't say, yes, it's safe, or no, it's not safe. It's really, they're doing all the precautions they can. And then it's really up to the individual and your comfort level. I mean, are you getting asked that a lot these days, or as COVID kind of dies away, are you not getting that question as much?
I am asked that a lot, and my answer has been the same since they reopened. I have felt safer at Universal and Disney than I have at home.
Wow.
Now, that could be reflective of, I live in an area where we no longer have mask mandates. Everything is open 100%, and so I'm not comfortable at home going out to eat. I'm not comfortable at home, when I'm standing in line at the grocery next to somebody who doesn't have a mask on.
Right.
So I feel much more comfortable at Universal than I do at home.
Okay. Yeah. So I was going to ask you, in terms of the COVID precautions, at Universal, are you still seeing like the constant sanitation? Are they sanitizing the rides? And then, what, a lot of people do want to know what the mask requirements are when they travel, because some people want to wear it, some people don't. So what did you see in terms of those?
Universal does have a 100% mask requirement. So you have to wear a mask anywhere on property unless you're in your room or if you are seated at a table actively eating or drinking.
Okay.
So they won't let you walk around the theme park sipping your daiquiri anymore.
Okay.
And we were there, during their Mardi Gras celebration when we were partaking of a lot of alcoholic beverages and things. And you had to buy them and sit down and drink them because you couldn't walk around and just sip your drink, as you walked. You have to have a mask on.
Okay. Good to know.
So that is one thing that they are doing. I do recall when they first opened, I thought they were absolutely, almost overboard about their cleanliness. They had, for instance, when you were on the moving sidewalk, they had somebody standing at the end spraying disinfectant constantly on the handrail and just holding that rag there and cleaning it 100% of the time. I didn't notice that on this last trip. And they were shutting down rides early on to do like deep cleaning. And I didn't catch any of that on this most recent trip. So I'm assuming they are doing the cleaning, but it doesn't seem to be as much as it was initially.
Okay. Well, that's good to know. So let's talk about the accommodation. So if somebody's looking to stay at Universal, I know we briefly talked about some of the premium level hotels. So let's kind of go through the different options that are available.
Okay, well, Universal now has 4 different categories of hotels.
Okay.
They call them their value prime, their preferred, and their premier. And with this, they really do have a price point for just about every budget.
Okay.
But let me tell you some of the advantages. No matter which level you stay, they all have certain advantages just because you're staying on site. One of them is early admission. So if you don't have that express pass, because you're a family that has opted, to go a little more in the value category, you're not buying express passes for everybody. If you're staying on site, you get in an hour before the general public. And they usually just open select rides, but it's almost always in the Harry Potter section. And so you can do things early in the morning and get, some rides knocked out. All of the hotels also provide free transportation to and from the parks. Most of them are within walking distance, if you don't mind a nice walk. But they have boats going to the parks. They have buses going to the parks. They have different forms of transportation, and that's all free.
Okay.
If you're staying at the premier hotels, they have boats, and the boat ride itself can be a ride for the kids. A lot of the children, it's a very nice little ride that lots of the children will enjoy.
Uh-huh.
You can charge everything on your room key if you're staying at a Universal hotel, and you can get your merchandise delivered to your room.
Oh,
so
very nice.
When you buy, your Slytherin sweatshirt, you don't have to wear it in the middle of the summer.
Yeah.
You can send it back to your room.
Yep.
You also get access to the different city walk venues, to the nightclubs and things.
Okay.
If you're staying on site. You get free Wi-Fi on site, and you can use the fitness centers.
Okay.
And at Universal, they encourage you to check out the swimming pools and the fitness centers and all at every hotel. So it doesn't matter where you're staying. I don't know how practical it would be, but you could go to any hotel and go use their pool.
Okay. Interesting.
So, yeah, so there are some advantages to staying on site.
Okay. And then,
okay.
Sorry, go ahead.
Okay, so I was going to tell you. So starting with their least expensive, their value hotels, and these are brand new. They just opened this past year during COVID. They opened what is called their Endless Summer Resort. It includes a section called Surfside and a section called Dockside. Now, these are a little further away from the park. They're on the other side of the interstate, so you do have to take the bus to get from them to the parks. But in these, a standard room pricing is starting between $75 and $85, and they have 2-bedroom suites that sleep 6 people and have a kitchen, and those are starting at about $125 to $130.
Oh, nice.
Okay.
Yeah, so for your family that has, several kids, and maybe you want to cook some meals in the room because you don't want to eat out everything, those can be a great, great option. And those are themed, like I said, Surfside, Dockside. They're kind of themed California surfing themed. They have one of the pools is shaped like a big surfboard.
Oh, cool.
They're fun.
Yeah. Okay.
Their next level of hotel is what they call their Value Prime. And they have 2 hotels in this group. One of them is the Adventura. The Adventura is a totally smart hotel. So this one really appeals to like your techies.
Interesting.
In your room, everything is controlled from an iPad. So you turn on your TV, you operate your air conditioning, your lights, everything is an iPad controls it.
Oh, very
nice. This hotel also has kids suites available, which can be really nice. They have a rooftop bar. They have a virtual reality game room.
That's cool.
They have a fire pit. They have a really nice pool. They have pizza delivery. So, again, a really, nice set of amenities at that hotel. The other one in this category is called Cabana Bay. Cabana Bay it's themed to be very retro, like 50s, 60s hotel. They have family suites in it that can sleep anywhere from 6 to 8, depending on the suite. And the suites do have small kitchenettes in them. Mm-hmm. This hotel has a pool with a lazy river. It has a bowling alley in it.
A bowling alley?
A bowling alley, yes.
Nice.
That's crazy.
Yes. So, these, even though these are value hotels, they really have some awesome amenities. And I've stayed in the Cabana Bay. We really enjoyed it quite a bit. Okay. So that's your Value Prime category. Your next level is called Preferred. And Preferred only has one hotel, the Sapphire Falls. It is supposed to be a hotel that has almost all the amenities of a premier hotel, but you don't get the express pass.
Okay.
So the Sapphire Falls has waterfalls. It's Caribbean themed. It has all your full service amenities. It has kids suites. They have a rum bar at that hotel, which is really neat.
I would say that's right up our alley.
That perked my interest.
Yeah. It has 24-hour room service. It has the pool with the slide. It has cabana rentals at the pool. So you really are getting to more of your full service amenities. You just don't get the express pass with it. But the price point is substantially less.
So if you did that and added the express pass, how is that comparing to other to properties that include it?
It depends. If there was only 2 people in your party, it may pay to stay there and buy the express pass.
Okay.
If you're a larger party, it may pay to go into the premier hotels. You just have to work the math, and I always do it, both ways for clients.
Yeah, I was going to say, you're taking care of that for them, right?
Oh, definitely.
Penyak Travel Service, you can't beat it.
Yep,
guys,
right.
and let me plug ourselves, guys. We are a free service to use. Stacey doesn't charge any fees. Janet, none of our agents charge fees. So if you have any questions or anything, We're going to put all of Stacey's contact information in the show notes below. So you'll be able to reach her, but I just want to make sure I mention that before we finish the podcast.
Yep, and you can also reach her. Her email is Stacey, and that's with an EY at penyaktravel.com.
Yes.
All right,
Yes.
so back to the accommodations.
Okay, so now we're up to our premier hotels. These are the ones that are your absolute full-service hotels with the plethora of amenities, everything you could ever want. They're the ones that are going to give you that express pass as part of your package. And they are also going to offer club level rooms. So these are ones that if you want to pay more, you can have, the admission to the club level, which typically will have breakfast and then drinks throughout the day and alcoholic beverages at night and some light food, things like that.
Okay.
So there are 3 hotels in this category. The least expensive, typically, of the 3 is Royal Pacific. This one is South Seas themed. It has the biggest pool on site. The pool has a, zero entry sand beach, and it's a sand bottom pool. It's absolutely an awesome pool. I love staying at this particular hotel.
Mm-hmm.
They have Jurassic Park kids themes rooms.
Oh, that's cool.
So if you want to get the kids rooms there, they have that. It has a huge sushi bar in the center of this hotel, which is really cool. They have a weekly luau at this hotel. They have an evening torch lighting ceremony.
Oh.
So a lot of people will call Royal Pacific the Polynesian Light. So if you're used to Disney and staying at the Polynesian, this is your hotel.
Very good to know.
Okay. The next one, and typically this is the second in level of price too, is the Hard Rock Resort. And the Hard Rock is just what you expect. It's a rock star's mansion. There's rock memorabilia all over it. They have the costumes from different rock stars. They have the instruments from different rock stars all over it. The kids' suites are future rock star suites. And so they have little stages in their kids' suites where kids can, practice their instruments. Their pool has underwater music. They have a program called Sound of Your Stay where you can check out a guitar for the length of your stay and practice, guitar in your room.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
And they're, these are the electric guitars. I don't know how they control the sound.
I
But,
was about to say that's kind of they must have really good soundproofing walls.
Yeah.
I mean,
exactly.
have like 30 people playing guitar at 8
Yeah,
p.m.
really.
Oh,
They
man.
have Rock Ohm, which is their daily yoga sessions.
Ooh.
And then they also have monthly Velvet Sessions, which is where they bring in rock stars and they do like a concert in the hotel.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah, that's really
Yeah.
cool.
So you're certainly getting like a next level experience here.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
Wow.
Now, the third hotel, and this one is my favorite. It's also the most expensive hotel on site, so I do warn people. It is called Portofino Bay. And when you drive up to it, you will feel like you have driven to Portofino, Italy.
Oh, wow.
There is, you see the water, the bay with the boats in the middle of it, the cobblestone streets. There's little outdoor cafes and piazzas all over. So this one is absolutely phenomenal. It is their premier hotel. It has the spa, the Mandara Spa. It has kids' suites that are themed to Despicable Me.
Oh.
It has the most upscale restaurant on property. It's called Bice. It's an Italian restaurant. But it also has a place where you can just order pizza for your family and pick it up at Sal's, which can be reasonable even if you're staying at this, rather expensive hotel.
Uh-huh.
Every night at dusk, they will have an opera singer come out on the balcony and perform.
Wow.
That's
each
ridiculous.
evening.
Crazy.
That's fancy.
They have a Starbucks there. They have a gelateria, so you can get your gelato after you've eaten.
Okay.
They have 3 different pools. One of them is, their big pool with the water slide, and it's kind of, a sand beach and everything. But then they also have 2 quiet pools that are, very, very upscale, exclusive with the cabanas. And, when you're laying anywhere at any of their pools, you're going to have somebody coming around every 5 minutes asking if there's anything you need.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They have the bocce ball, they have a game room there. You could walk around this hotel for quite a while and just enjoy the theming of the hotel itself. And taking the boat from it just to the parks is really a very nice experience.
Yeah, that's super convenient. What would be so out of all the properties they have there, what are some of your favorites?
Well, my big favorite is the Portofino Bay in the premier category. I really do like it. Although I love the Royal Pacific because I'm a big Disney Polynesian fan, and I like that, Caribbean type of theming and the torch lighting and things like that. I have not stayed at the Sapphire Falls, the only one in that preferred category. It's next on my list to stay there. I have walked through it. It looks really nice. I love the Cabana Bay.
Okay.
It's very retro themed. The lazy river is really cool there. You can bring tubes or you can, get tubes while you're there and they'll blow them up for you if you bring your own tubes. Okay. And you can spend quite a while in that little lazy river.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm looking at pictures of Cabana Bay. It looks really, it's super retro. They feature the lazy river. This is
neat. And
got
there's
the bowling alley.
It's right next door to Volcano Bay. So some of the rooms at Cabana Bay, you can get Volcano Bay theme rooms that overlook Volcano Bay, and you can walk from Cabana Bay right into Volcano Bay.
Okay, nice.
The water park, yes. So that's really neat. The Adventura is, like I said, if you're a techie and you're into the smart hotel theme, that one is really cool. So if you were adults and you were looking for more value, I'd probably steer you more towards Adventura, or if you're adults and teens, whereas if you had younger kids, I might want to steer you more towards Cabana Bay.
Right.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And then the new value, the Endless Summer Resorts, just opened this past year. So I have not had a chance to stay in those. I've seen the rooms in those. For what they offer and the price point, it's phenomenal. It's just a slightly longer distance to the park from those.
Now, because we have listeners all over, and it's not just like an easy drive like it is for us in the Southeast down to Orlando, what are the airport transportation options? Is it included, or what's the additional cost for that?
Yeah, they are not. Universal does offer a shuttle service from MCO. They do not offer it from Sanford, just like Disney. And I believe it's $29 a person, so it is a charged one. Universal also offers a round-trip shuttle from Walt Disney World to Universal. So I very commonly will have clients who are going on a Disney vacation for a week, and they want to go spend 1 or 2 days at Universal, but they don't want to change hotels.
Right.
And so that one is also $29 a person a day, and Universal will come pick you up at your Disney hotel. They'll bring you to your Universal theme park, and then they'll bring you back at the end of the day.
That is super nice.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's a great idea, because if you're staying for a full week at Disney, I think it's worth it to take a day and go check it out.
Yeah, and a lot of people, too, at least I've been asked this a lot, is they don't realize that Disney and Universal are not the same. Like, they're completely separate. So that's definitely a good idea to check out both.
And they're in two different parts of Orlando, too. You have to think of Orlando as a fairly large city. It's a good 30-minute drive from the closest Disney hotel to Universal without traffic.
Yeah.
So they're not something that, you're going to catch public transportation, and the Uber would cost you as much as the shuttle service.
Yeah, absolutely. Easy, I'm sure.
So,
so let's talk about the dining plan. So Universal, are they still doing their dining plans right now? Because, as we know, Disney has discontinued theirs for the time being.
Universal is doing their dining plans. Universal they have what I call 2.5 dining plans.
Yep.
They have a full service one, but you can only buy it if you buy a Universal package. So you have to stay at a Universal hotel and buy your Universal tickets in order to qualify for the full service plan.
Okay.
And if you buy annual passes, you cannot get it. So this is one that if somebody's going to go, this is their once, in a lifetime trip to Universal, and they're going to just do everything with the Universal package they can get. And that one it's pretty comparable to a Disney table service plan. You're going to get one full service meal a day. You're going to get one quick service meal a day. You're going to get a snack, and you're going to get a beverage each day.
Okay.
Now, their quick service plan, anybody can buy, so you don't have to be staying on site or anything else. And that one is just one quick service meal plus one snack plus one beverage a day.
Okay.
And that one starts at about $25 to $27. A neat little trick with that one. Now, you have to buy an expensive quick service to pay for that.
Right.
But if you are at a quick service location and you notice that you are ordering the most expensive item on the menu and you're getting a drink with it and you're approaching that $25 mark, you can buy that plan on the spot just for that one meal.
Oh, okay.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
That's a good option.
So that one is, kind of nice to know. Or you can buy that, ahead of time for however many days you're there, anything else.
Right.
And then I say they have a 2.5 because their third option is the same as the quick service, but you also get the refillable cup.
Oh, okay.
And these are extremely popular. They're bigger than Disney's cups.
Okay.
And they have Coca-Cola freestyle machines all over the parks at multiple locations. And so you get one of these insulated cups with a lid, and throughout the day you can carry it and go up and refill it as many times as you want. And that adds $10 to the quick service price.
Okay. Very good to know.
Interesting.
If you are somebody that, drinks soft drinks and all during the day, that one's definitely worth it.
Okay. Now, what current specials are going on, if any?
Right now, they have one. It's only good for about another week. You have to book it by April 19th. It is exclusively at the Cabana Bay, but it's a 2-park, 4-day ticket, as well as 4 nights. So it's called a 4-day, 4-night package, and it is 40% off the regular pricing.
Oh, wow.
Oh, wow.
So that one is really good. They are almost always running their Harry Potter package.
Uh-huh.
This one, you have to stay on site, but you could stay at any level of hotel. It is a 3-night minimum, so you need to stay 3 nights. But you get breakfast at the Leaky Cauldron as well as at 3 Broomsticks. So
Okay.
you get one in Hogsmeade and one in Diagon Alley. And both of those are very popular restaurants that are typically not as easy to get into.
Mm-hmm.
You also get a photo session. So it's one of these, and somebody who's a techie would understand. I don't know if it's the green wall or the purple wall, but they do the background and you pose in all different things and you wind up getting all these different Harry Potter themed pictures during your photo session.
Very neat.
You also get a welcome package before you go that sends you, like you've been accepted to the Hogwarts school, and
oh, that's cool.
it's a really cute little package, of items. It has lanyards in it. It has, some different items like that change. So that package is always one that's available. And if somebody is a big Harry Potter fan and they're going to want to eat breakfast at one of those locations or something, that's something I try to recommend too. And the photo session can be really cool.
Okay.
There's also your annual pass holder discounts. Like I said, they can be up to 40% off on a room. They typically do not get released too far out. And I can't say a specific date. Sometimes I can check for an annual pass holder rate 2 months out and it'll be available. I was just playing around a few minutes ago and I was looking for some through the summer and they were not available yet.
Okay.
But they are, they're available right now.
Right.
So those can be really great ones.
Okay.
And then the big news for Universal this year, which we're hoping and praying comes true, but they are advertising a return of Halloween Horror Nights.
Yes. Yeah. So give a quick, brief overview of, what Halloween Horror Nights is.
Scare your pants off.
Yeah. I've heard great things about it.
It is their most popular offering of the year.
Mm-hmm.
They set up haunted houses throughout Universal Studios, and this typically is going to run, September and October.
Mm-hmm.
It is you do have to pay separately for it, so this is a separate admission thing. It's kind of like going to one of the Disney after hours types of events. But you go to these different haunted houses that are throughout the park. They will scare you to death. They will also have characters from these, all over the parks. And what I've been told is that if you're somebody who acts like you're scared, you're going to really get it. You need to walk around and act like you could care less.
Yeah.
Because they will have guys with hatchets, following you around.
Hatchets, Jesus.
Oh my gosh, it's terrifying.
It is a really, really terrifying thing. It's not children themed.
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't sound like
some kids love it, but this is something that adults go to every single year.
I was gonna say, I hear mostly adults going to it. Is there an age limit?
There is, under 17 must have an adult with them.
Okay.
So they will let you bring your children. That's up to you.
Right.
If you want to terrify them.
We're going to have to check that out.
It's not themed. It's not themed for kids.
Yeah.
But some kids would love that.
Yeah.
Particularly some teenagers.
Yeah. Oh, interesting.
Some will have nightmares forever.
Yeah. Well, as we wrap this up, I just thought of one last question that I should have asked you when we were talking about the dining, because dining at Disney, you got to make your dining reservations, and some of the more sought after restaurants can be really hard to get into. Do you recommend and can you make dining reservations at Universal?
You can make dining reservations at Universal. They typically are not nearly as difficult to get as at Disney. If you are staying at the premier hotels, again, then you get priority seating at all the restaurants. Okay. So even if you show up for your trip and you haven't planned on your dining, if you're staying at one of those hotels, you will get priority.
Okay.
But you can go online and make dining reservations at Universal. I typically will not even look for a client up until about 60 days before, but frequently a week before a trip, I'm able to get any reservations that they want.
Okay.
There are quite a few restaurants in that City Walk. City Walk is kind of like the downtown Disney area, but it is between the two theme parks.
Okay.
So I said the theme parks are literally right next to each other, and then there's this whole venue between them with restaurants, nightclubs, mini golf, movie theaters, things like that, shopping, things like that.
Okay.
That is called City Walk.
Right.
That is connecting the two parks, and they have quite a few restaurants. I mean, everything from, Jimmy Buffett's Margaritaville is in there. They have several Mexican restaurants in there. They have a New Orleans House of Blues in there, which has dueling pianos playing while you're eating.
Oh, that's fun.
Food. Yeah. And they also have all these different venues that are more like nightclubs that are playing music and things like that. Okay. But no, dining reservations are not difficult to get typically.
Okay. Well, that is good to know.
Good to know.
There's been a lot of great information on Universal, and especially during COVID, and as we're still going through this, but at least it seems like we're getting out of it. A lot of people are looking to stay in the U.S., and so Universal can definitely be a great option. And if you're just two adults that want to change it up and like adventure, then I would say go for it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it sounds like there's something for every age group.
Yeah.
And
there really is.
Yeah, like there's so many different accommodations, right? There's different levels, there's different things to do on the specific properties, and then at Universal. I mean, it's almost like I feel like Universal, you could really customize a package that can fit almost every budget and every lifestyle.
Yeah.
You certainly could. And I'll say, I'm going to add two more quick things. One, Universal is opening their brand new Velocicoaster. Oh. It's a coaster. It's themed Jurassic Park. It is opening June 10th.
Oh, that sounds exciting.
Cool.
I have seen it. They were running tests of it while I was there and everything. It is going to be phenomenal.
Oh, that's cool.
Universal's coasters tend to put Disney's coasters to shame.
Oh.
If you think at Disney, Rock and Roller Coaster is probably the best coaster that Disney has. Universal has a half dozen of those.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so this is going to be one of those. That one is getting ready to open June 10th. So I expect there to be quite a bit of interest, and you're going to see a lot of people, going to Universal this summer for it.
Right.
But the other thing I say is, as a family, we have been a Disney family our whole life. I've probably taken my kids to Disney over 20 times.
Wow.
It wasn't until the last 4 to 5 years that we started going to Universal. We used to be what I call the Disney snobs.
Yep.
We absolutely love Universal now. I mean, we still love Disney, and we usually put both of them in our trips. We seldom go to just one or the other.
Yeah.
But Universal is a whole different experience, and if you've never tried it, for those people out there that go back to Disney all the time, I encourage them, talk to me, talk to somebody about Universal, and see if I can't convince you to just try it out once, because once you go once, you're going to go back.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I mean, I feel like there's a lot of people out there that just haven't even tried it yet, and it sounds like there's so much. Yeah, we haven't. It's like there's so much to do, and it's a different flow and pace, but there is something for everybody. And I agree. I think it's certainly worth checking out. We are definitely going to go next time we're in Orlando.
Yeah, I'd like to check out the Halloween Horror Nights. It sounds cool.
I don't like being scared.
Halloween Horror Nights, make sure you are working with a good travel agent that as soon as those tickets are released for sale, they get scooped up immediately.
Yep.
I mean, if you've been getting your client, a seating at Cinderella's Royal Table or Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Party tickets are hard to get, these are next to impossible. And especially since last year it was canceled.
Right.
There's going to be tremendous demand for those tickets. So Halloween Horror Nights is going to be phenomenal this year. I can't wait for it.
I was say that's exciting.
I'm telling you, you got to work with a good travel advisor. Shameless plug.
I was going to say,
Penyak
if you
Travel's
want more,
got the best.
If you want more information on anything that you've heard today, please reach out, contact Stacey. All of her contact information will be in the show notes. Her email is Stacey with an EY at penyaktravel.com. She can put together great Universal packages and Disney packages for you. So please reach out to her.
Yeah, absolutely. Or you can go to request a quote on our website. It'll go right to us and just let us know, hey, you're looking to get in touch with Stacey. We'll kick it right over.
Yep.
Yeah, so a couple different ways. And it's time for Question of the Day. Question of the Day. And now
Stacey's going to answer this one too.
Of course, yeah. We got a third party here. This is great. Okay, all right. So, pretty simple question here. I'm curious to hear everyone's thoughts on this. What are your favorite addictions? What are your favorite addictions?
So,
who wants to go first?
So,
like you're
like
vice. Vice, like something you're addicted to, but you love it and you're not giving it up.
Sugar-free Red Bull.
This could be chocolate, working out, Netflix. Everyone's got something.
Mine's sugar-free Red Bull.
Sugar-free Red Bull. Okay.
I know it's not good for you, but there's worse things I could do. Yeah.
Oh, you're going to laugh at mine.
Oh, what's yours?
Mine is planning Disney trips.
Oh?
Really?
I can spend hours and hours and days and weeks planning which ride I'm going to go to in which order every single day, and then optimizing that, evaluating it, and optimizing it again to get the lowest possible wait times in line and everything else. And I'll do that for my clients too. When I send somebody to Disney, I send them with a day-by-day itinerary that says, you should go in this order to these rides, and this is how long you should expect to wait.
Oh, wow.
Very cool.
But I love doing that. I'm addicted to planning Disney trips.
Very cool.
Very cool.
Again, good addiction to have in this line of work.
Yeah. So what's yours?
I don't know. I was just thinking about that as you guys were talking. My favorite addiction, I think it's probably, I'm really bad. Like I work out every day almost.
Yeah.
But like if there's like chips and salsa at a gathering, I will graze the chips and salsa like a starving cow in a pasture full of grass. I will just continue to graze, and I can't stop myself. And I love it. It's delicious. But
yeah, you definitely can't say
what
no
about
to chips and salsa.
guacamole too?
I know, like guacamole over salsa. Like chips and guac, I can't stop. I will gorge myself until I burst.
See,
and guacamole goes everywhere.
I can say no to chips and salsa, even though I love it. But if it's around, you're eating it.
Like if you catch me at a social gathering, I'm grazing the chips. Like you can just come. I'm not going to talk to anybody. I'll just be at the chips.
Yeah.
And they'll be like, "Where'd the chips go?" And be like, "Well, George ate them all."
There you go.
Well, it sounds like you need to come on over to my house and we need to have a margarita party.
Oh, I love it.
I like it.
I love it.
Let us know when.
Absolutely. I will take you up on that.
All right, guys. Well, again, if you want any more information on anything you've heard today, please reach out. Stacey's contact information will be in the show notes, and we will catch you next time.
Yeah, guys. Thanks so much for tuning in. We'll see you guys next time.